Many people are familiar with the ideal gas law, but are you studying the correct one? There's two versions, PV is equal to nRT and PV is equal to nkBT. What do we mean by an ideal gas? An ideal gas is something that doesn't exist. It's a particle that doesn't take up space, which we know that gases do. And they don't have electrostatic interactions, which obviously they do. And there's all these little assumptions about them just to make the maths work. And it turns out most gases behave really, really closely to this. So this approximation is fantastic. The history behind the first equation, PV is equal to nRT, comes down to as early as the late 1600s. We have Boyle, who developed the relationship between pressure and the inverse of volume, where Robert Hooke helped him develop the air pump at the time. Then we have Charles' law, the direct relationship between temperature and volume. And after that, Gay-Lussac, where pressure and temperature were directly proportional to each other, as long as the respective other parameter was kept constant. So in the case of Boyle, when you're monitoring pressure and volume, temperature remains constant of a fixed volume of gas. Now, this was at a time before they even knew about the idea of molecules, of atoms. These concepts didn't really exist. When I teach this to my students, I always tell them to close their eyes and imagine a box. Imagine a box with balls floating around it. Here, we keep the temperature constant, we control the temperature of a system, and we squeeze the box, we decrease the volume. You can imagine the balls are now bouncing off one another, bouncing off the wall a lot more. And so, because they're not allowed to change their temperature, the only thing they can change is the pressure. The pressure of your box is increasing as you're squeezing the volume of your box more and more. So back to the imaginary box. In this one, we get our box and we put a Bunsen burner underneath. We heat up the box. Your balls become very chaotic. They have high energy and they begin bouncing off the walls more and more and more. And they push the box further and further and further apart in all directions. Your box expands. So as your heat increases, your volume expands. Now we have to keep the volume fixed as we put a Bunsen burner underneath. The volume doesn't change. The balls become more kinetic and they're bouncing off the walls, bouncing off each other. And so the pressure must increase in direct proportionality with the temperature increase. Avogadro developed the idea of the mole. Although this was in a realm of chemistry at the time, he was a physicist, and the term mole was coined by Ostwald a good bit later. Avogadro's work wasn't really recognized until many years after his death. And so if we look very carefully at the equation, we have Boyle's, Charles, Gay-Lussac. PV is on one side of the equation and T is on the other, because T is directly proportional to volume and pressure, makes sense. And if we lob in the relationship of the mole that Avogadro discovered, Avogadro's number is basically just number 6.02 by 10 to the power of 23. This represents the amount of molecules present in 12 grams of carbon-12. So 1 mole is equal to, if you had 6.02 by 10 to the power of 23, divided by Avogadro's number would equal 1. That is what 1 mole is equal to. It's a very valuable numerical representation of concentration. In chemistry, for example, something that we discuss quite often in solution is molar. It's the amount of moles present per liter. But how did this equation come about? It was all thanks to kinetics. When Maxwell and Ludwig Boltzmann and people in the realm of thermodynamics and statistical physics were working on understanding how pistons and pressure and volume and all thermodynamic potentials were all related to one another, they developed this equation, which is basically the exact same equation with the constants kind of switched around. Kb is a Boltzmann constant that shows up quite often in thermodynamics and statistical physics. The Boltzmann constant is basically the ideal gas constant from the first equation divided by Avogadro's number. That's where you get 1.381 by 10 to the minus 23. It's the same equation with just a small manipulation of what the mole is. Generally, we won't be using moles in physics very often. Rather, we'd be monitoring the amount of molecules present. That's why this equation tends to be referred to as the physics equation, although both of them were developed by physicists. It's just at the time when this was developed, the number of molecules or particles or the understanding of the atom wasn't really there, and so it was much more useful to use. Chemists continue to use it because mole is inherently part of their maths and their calculations. It's embedded in almost everything in chemistry. While physicists would be less likely to use it, but they can interchange accordingly to what they're looking for. This has a deeper and contextual meaning in statistical mechanics. So, in the battle of chemistry versus physics, which one is the correct one? Well, I'm going to be pretentious and snobby and say both of them are physics equations. So there's absolutely no need to be snobby between both of the fields. It just depends what you're looking for. The development historically, PV is equal to nRT, came about first. The second equation developed due to statistical mechanics and understanding what molecules are. Just to put it in perspective, this was before the turn of the century. And when Boltzmann was writing all of his articles on molecules and atoms, he was ridiculed by a large population of the scientific community because he believed that atoms existed. As I always like to say, somehow in shape or form, everything goes back to physics.